strangely, ever since I've been a young lad, my mum said to me, like, when I was, I don't know, 14 or whatever, and everybody was saying what they wanted to be. When I was young, I wanted to be a pub landlord. It must have been in my blood, because my great-grandfather was a landlord in Oldham. Had a couple of pubs during the war, and he retired in High Crompton. I used to have the Bull's Head in High Crompton. Yeah, when I went to university, I was working in bars, and when I finished university, it was weird. I was supposed to be going around the world with my mate, and I ended up running pubs. I had my first licence when I was 21.
Hi Chris, thanks for coming to have a chat with us today.
All right, no problem.
So you've been a pub landlord for many years.
Yes.
At the moment you run the Fox and Pine
Yeah,
in Oldham.
yeah. So yeah, we're on the Fox and Pine route.
Yeah, and am I right in saying it's a multiple CAMBRA award-winning pub, which is the campaign for Real Ale?
Correct.
If you don't know.
Yeah.
So my first question would be, what goes into making a CAMBRA award-winning pub?
Good question. You've got to live it, really. It's sort of, it's different than a normal job, if you like. It's more of a way of life. You don't necessarily get a sort of a day off because you're always working. You've just got to sort of live and breathe your pub, and you've got to believe in what you do. Obviously, CAMBRA, it's a campaign for Real Ale, so first and foremost, you've got to sell Real Ale. You can't, they look for a pub with Real Ale, not sort of your fake bitters like, say, your John Smith's, which is some people's choice, fair enough, but Real Ale's a certain different product that's like a live product and whatnot, so that's what they're campaigning for, that you can get Real Ale. But to win an award, obviously there's thousands of pubs in the country to choose from, so when you do win an award, they look at different things. They look at the staff and the knowledge and the range of different ales that you have on, the cleanliness and just the uniqueness of pubs and things like that. They take into so many different sort of things that they'll look at. And I don't know if you've been in. It's a bit quirky, and we put on sort of our own homemade food and things like that. So that just all comes into it, I think. And atmosphere, and there's a multitude of things, and I'd love to know why we win awards, because I'd try and open a few more pubs and win more awards, sort of thing. So, which is something that we are doing, but that's a question for later, I hope. I don't know.
Yeah, so I've been in many times, done the quiz, come in after work, because I think probably many people in the council do, with being in a central Oldham location. It's very popular, particularly with regulars. So I can imagine you get quite repeat customers, and there's a lot of people who come in, and probably that contributes to the feeling of a local pub.
Of loads and loads of locals. Plus, I think there's something for everybody in the Fox, because there's sort of areas, if you like, that you can go and have a little quiet drink and read a book and whatever in the top corner upstairs, or if you want to be in the hustle and bustle and listen to the sort of chit chat and, but we call it, without swearing, bull sort of thing, and people go down there and they just chat away, don't they? And if you want to be in the middle of that, you can be. But if you want to sit somewhere quiet, you can go out the back or upstairs. So, yeah, you do get all walks of life coming in. It's an interesting little pub, really.
So, how long have you been a pub landlord for, or just worked in the industry?
My first ever job was glass collector in the Bluebell in Shaw, because I grew up in Shaw. But strangely, ever since I've been a young lad, my mum said to me, like, when I was, 14 or whatever, and everybody was saying what they wanted to be. When I was young, I wanted to be a pub landlord. It must have been in my blood, because my great-grandfather was a landlord in Oldham. He had a couple of pubs during the war, and he retired in High Crompton. I used to have the Bull's Head in High Crompton. And then, when I went to university, I was working in bars, and when I finished university, it was weird. I was supposed to be going around the world with my mate, and I ended up running pubs. I had my first licence when I was 21.
Wow.
I think I was the youngest licensee in Greater Manchester then. It was a pub in Whitefield called the Lord Clive, and I ran it for Leesy's for it wasn't long, it was about 8 months, something like that. And then I did the relief circuit, sort of running pubs when either somebody had been sacked or if they were on holiday and whatever. And I used to run it, I used to love it. I was only a young lad, so it was going here, there and everywhere. We used to, like, I've run like hotels in Anglesey and all sorts of weird and wonderful places. It was quite interesting as a sort of in my young 20s. And then after I'd had a few pubs with Leesy's, my own actual pubs, not just reliefing, I had the Art and Arms in Street Bridge, which is in Chadderton. Some people class it as Royton, but it's Chadderton. I ran the Tommyfield in Oldham for about 9 months once. Yeah, I've been here, there and everywhere. And then I started doing, when Leesy's bought new pubs, I used to go in and take the licence on for the first sort of 6 months. And so they bought the Yates's building, which is now the Town Hall Tavern. So I was the first licensee of the Town Hall Tavern. And then one day I was in there and Tim Martin and one of his sort of henchmen, if you like, came in and they give us a card, and I weren't interested because I'd never really heard of Wetherspoons or whatever, but they sort of taught me around with a good package and whatnot, and I joined Wetherspoons and I was with them for 18 years. So I ran 5 Wetherspoons pubs, and then I've always thought I wanted to do my own thing, so we saved enough money, and so we formed our company. So me and Michelle formed the company, Oldham Beer Company, and I wanted to open venues in Oldham because it's sort of like my passion. I've always been an Oldham fan of everything, really. I'm just dead proud of being from Oldham. So she's from Leicester, my wife, and so we found a venue, and it was in the market. So we opened the Cobb and Coal. We named it Cobb and Coal because it was a Leicester and an Oldham thing. Even though Cobb and Coal Inn is a thing I used to do when I was a kid around bonfire night. You're probably too young, you won't remember. So we used to go around and sing a Cobb and Coal Inn on bonfire night. But then she allowed us to call it that because a cob. We always arguing what a cob's called, or a muffin or whatever. So anyway, that was the Cobb and Coal. So we opened the Cobb and Coal, and then we were in the what was it called? The Old Bill, that's now not a restaurant. And we were there, and it said to let where the Fox and Pine is. So we thought, we'll put in for that. So we put in for it, and we eventually sealed the deal and got the pub, and we were wondering what to call it, and we ended up calling it the Fox and Pine. But we signed for it in lockdown, so it was a bit strange, really, because obviously we couldn't do anything with it. So for the first sort of year, we were just fiddling about and building it and whatnot. We did a lot of it ourselves. So yeah, we called it the Fox and Pine because of Leicester. So the football team in Leicester, she's a big Leicester fan. That's the Foxes. And then Pine, Oldham Athletic, when it first formed, was called Pine Villa, so we called it the Fox and Pine. And then the sort of story of the Fox and Pine sort of grew from there. We obviously won our first award, and then we won Camera Pub of the Year for 4 years on the trot. We've won Greater Manchester Pub of the Year twice. We're currently Greater Manchester Camera Pub of the Year. I think it was the Real Cider Pub of the Year as well at the minute. We're up for an award which is nice because the other awards are camera awards, but we're up for the I Love Manchester award as well, which is Most Loved Pub. So you can go online and vote for the only pub outside of Manchester.
Yes, there you go, everyone.
Try and vote for us, please. I think you just go on the I Love Manchester awards and you'll see. So there's loads of different categories. There's a most loved person category, I think, and our own Frank Rothwell's up for an award, so vote for him as well. So we're up for most loved pub, up against some sort of big pubs in Manchester, like Britain's Protection and the Crown and Kettle.
So it sounds like then you're running, very successful pubs, very loved pubs, in a time where there's a lot of talk around pub culture and kind of changing tastes. There's a lot of pubs which are struggling, I think, throughout the country. How are you seeing the different, changing attitudes, and, is there anything you think that you're doing differently to keep things so successful? And what are you kind of seeing from lockdown over the past few years?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been doing it a very long time. Just all my life, really. All my adult life, I've been in pubs. I've seen loads and loads of changes. I used to go up Oldham when, you said the glory years, if you like, when you had Henry Africa's and there was loads and loads of pubs. a lot of the older end had said the glory years were before that, when there were 365 pubs and whatnot. But the times have just changed. The attitudes of people have changed. The whole society of the blokes used to go out and go to work and then go to the pub before they came home, and the wives were at home cooking and all them. The society's changed as a whole, and people's sort of perceptions of what they're supposed to do in life and whatnot has changed. So the pub has changed in that. So it's more of a mixed thing now. It's not like a male culture like it used to be. Even like since lockdown, it's changed so much. Like, so lockdown's really, it's hit pubs hard, because we've come out of lockdown, and then we're up against the rising costs of, I mean, you know, like electricity and gas, electric, and all that. It's just unbelievable. It's quadrupled in the sort of 5 years. So the prices of beer in a pub have obviously had to go up a lot higher than, say, the likes of supermarkets. But people in lockdown, they were getting used to drinking at home and using supermarket prices where you can get a can of lager for £100 and whatnot. And then they come into a pub and say, well, if I could buy a bottle of Peroni for £1.50 in a supermarket, why is it being charged at £3.50, £4 in a pub? But, you know, the minimum wage is £12.21, you're paying that an hour now for everybody, which is, I'm not saying it's a negative thing, it's a great thing, but the price of everything in a pub, the tax, I mean, there's obviously supermarkets, they have VAT, like their sort of VAT reduction, we pay the full amount of VAT, so it's slightly unfair where they struggle to earn as much money, so there's not much profit in them these days. Well, not as much as used to be. You still can make a living, you've just got to work hard at it. As you said before, you know, like what makes a bad pub or why do pubs close and whatnot. I mean, apparently there's a pub close every day in this country. Some of them would be just because of location. You know, if you're in the middle of nowhere, it's going to be very hard to keep a pub. So there's loads of pubs in rural locations that are closing.
Just not getting the footfall.
Yeah. But not saying that, you know, there's a pub that Michelle used to run. Well, I think she left in 2010, which is Tandalil Tavern, that's in the middle of nowhere, but that's still thriving.
Right.
You know, it's a mile up a country lane, but it's celebrating its 175th year this year, and they're having big celebrations and stuff, and that's still thriving. But so there's so many different things that can cause a pub to fail. It's a difficult one to answer, really.
Do you think you've had to, or pubs, you're talking about adapting, changing to the times, there's a lot of conversation around younger people not drinking as much and putting on, I remember you mentioned before we started filming around people just coming out earlier. Are you seeing that, obviously, in the Fox of Pine, in the town centre? Yeah,
I mean, it definitely changed after lockdown. There's not many people in a pub, wanting to go in a pub really late on. There are venues that cater for that, but they're a lot less than they used to be. You know, so like, you know, in Oldham, if you want to have a late drink, you'd go to the George Tavern because they're open until 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So there are places, there's just not as many. So I've just found that the majority, especially at weekends and stuff, you're really busy like 6, 7 o'clock, and then come 9:30, everybody just goes home. It's just a change in the way people are, and it's something that happened in lockdown. I can't put my finger on it, but it's definitely
people
changed.
just got used to, I think, not going out.
Agree.
People got comfortable being at home. I live in Manchester, and you see it never quite got back to what it was. I think it's getting there now, but the busyness on like the weekends and the nights out, it's not quite the same.
A lot of people want to be entertained and things like that as well. You know, I think a lot of pubs are having to put something on to get people out, if you like. So like we on a Sunday night we have an open mic which gets people out through the week. You know, like sort of, well, even Friday, Saturdays, what we put on is like a mini beer festival because obviously we have 10 ales on. So that's an attraction in itself. So we get people coming in because we have 10 different beers on, so they can try different beers. That's the attraction. Whereas, say, I don't know, the Tommyfield, they do a lot of like entertainment and things like that. They do so. there's something for everything in Oldham. Oldham's not as doom and gloom as people are thinking. We're currently on. I'm on like a panel of trying to get the nighttime economy up and running, and alongside the council, we're coming up with loads of initiatives of trying to get people out. So we did the sort of the ale hop. We did that in 1st of August, I think it was, and that was really successful. Just getting people out to hop around the pubs that we've got.
Yeah,
14 venues, and it was really popular. Loads of people came out. It's just getting it out there that Oldham's not as terrible as people think it is. You get, if you see these things, don't you, online, and then you get your keyboard warriors, and they'll all blame everything and blame this and blame that. Where Oldham's rubbish. Well, when was the last time you went out? Because I've never seen you in my pub.
It's a great point. I think there's particularly in the town centre, there's been probably since lockdown to now, people haven't visited. So much work has been done. So much work is going on. There's lots of new places opened up. There's all the regeneration happening, the new market opening. Obviously, you've got the Fox and Pine there doing really well. I guess that would be the message to people who haven't been in a while. Come and see it for yourself. Don't write it off.
Great. Come and just give us a try. Give not just the Fox and Pine. The Fox and Pine is doing well, and it's a nice place to visit. Obviously, I'm going to say that, but it is. It wouldn't be winning these things if it wasn't. But you've got a new place around the corner called the Egyptian Rooms. It's fabulous. Merlino Lounge. You've got a great quirky little pub across the road. You've got so Ashton Arms. It's just a lovely traditional pub if that's what you want. It's there. Then you've got Billington's around the corner that's just open, and they're doing loads of different things, putting events on and having. They even do like some shows there. I think some of the Coliseum people have been putting shows on, and there's all sorts of stuff going on in Oldham. You've got Whittles that do. Whittles is fabulous. They have live bands on it at weekend and stuff like that. But they're all outside. It's like a little miniature sort of festival. And then you've got the top end of town, with the Tommy Field and all the pubs on the run. These things for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there's getting more and more offered, and it's going in the right direction. What do you think the kind of future is there for you? Obviously, you've got the Fox and Pine now. Yeah. What are the plans to kind of, you personally, or where do you think the town's going in terms of what it can offer for people?
Well, I mean, it's in a very important place now, I think, the town, where everything's going to start coming together soon. And then, so the new market's going to open, and then, so you're going to have Parliament Square that'll be back to looking nice and hopefully attracting new independent businesses, which is something that I've spoken to people in the council quite a lot, and they are listening. It's just we're just in the time as now is you're not going to attract many people because it's in the middle of getting built up and whatnot. It is coming, and it will be good. So it's just what buildings are going to become available for people to rent, and I think that's something that the council really needs to sort of focus on, I think, and get little independence, and because don't just try and focus on the big companies. You need little independence to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens. I mean, I'm trying to expand into next door, so I'm at 18, which isn't it looks like an old terraced house. It's been all sorts. Next door is sort of a terraced house. I've done a lot of community stuff, so I have upstairs on a Monday, Tuesday night. I have the room for community groups and things there. So I have the Buffs on a Monday, Tuesday night. The British Legion now meet upstairs, and the Lancashire Fusiliers, and these little things like stories around the fire. They use it upstairs, and just through the week. So I wanted to get next door and make it into like a little community room, if you like, so you can book out the room for free, sort of thing. So you're not, because it's getting to the point where I'm sometimes really busy, and I've booked out upstairs for a book club, and you just think, I could do with the room for actual punters, if you like.
Yeah, they're fighting for space in there sometimes. Of course, from your view, is a good thing. But I've been there before, and it's just so popular.
So now and again you just think, cracky, I wish I'd not let them use it, but anyway, it's sometimes.
Pints and you can
yeah, but no, I mean, it's good. It's the thing that this community thing is another reason why you win awards and stuff, and I don't do it for that. I do it because I just think it's the right thing to do. But like I say, hopefully if we get next door, it should make our property a lot better. I'm currently we're trying to buy somewhere in another town as well, because I'm not just I just think Fox and Pine will work elsewhere as well. So we're signing for a place in Lytham. That's going to be happening in the next couple of months. So if you ever go on holiday around that sort of area, come and see what we've done out there as well. It's going to be called the Fox and Pine Lytham. So that's for me personally a thing that I'm doing at the minute.
Yeah. And now, that's great with all the stuff going on in the future. I think there's a lot happening now. I do have to ask, you've been a pub admin, worked in pubs all the time. I'm sure there's some great stories. Bearing in mind this is going out on council channels. So
yes.
There might be some toning down to do. But I've got to ask many weird and wonderful stories you've got.
There's thousands, to be honest. And
probably every night, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about this the other night, and my wife's really good at sort of talking about things that have happened, and she gets people in hysterics and whatever. And we were thinking we should actually write a book.
Absolutely.
But sometimes
Tales of a pub.
I can't really say, because some of them they might be a bit close to the bone of that maybe you shouldn't be discussing online. I'm trying to think of a daft funny tale, because there's that many. But yeah, some of them are a bit pub talky, aren't they?
I can imagine most of them.
I wish if you'd put me forward just to tell us a funny tale, but honestly, I can't even. There's that many.
We can go back to it later if you can remember some that
No,
are.
I can remember off the top of my head now, but.
Is there a slightly toned down version?
No, well, none of them are they? Because it's pub humour, and pub humour's.
Go on, tell us one, and if it's too much, we'll edit it out, and only we'll hear it.
I can't really.
Go on.
I can't think of one right now, this second, that would be appropriate.
Give us an inappropriate one.
Oh God, they'll be full of swearing and all sorts.
Go on, we'll edit it out if it doesn't work.
A lot of them are like funny nicknames and things. I always find nicknames are funny, and I'm just trying to think of a recent funny one, but.
We can come back to it.
Yeah, I think we'll have to do.
Right, I think I've got the most important set of questions to ask you now.
Okay.
Okay. If you had to pick one, ale or
Yep.
cider, which one would you pick? If you could only drink one for the rest of your life.
I could only drink one, it'd be an ale. It would probably be. I'd have to stick with my old friend who has a brewery in Rochdale called Pictish. He never brews a bad beer. Probably Pictish Alchemist.
And is that on tap at the Fox and Pine right now?
It was on last night, so it's possibly not on now.
Yeah, I should also ask.
It's on quite a lot.
Yeah.
Another beer I do really like is Cast Bass, and that's on permanently.
Right.
So I have these strange Bass Society guys, and they come every now and again. They strangely enough, they come in this Monday. It's the Honourable Order of Bass Drinkers. So, and they're a society that have been
just committed to that one
beer. Yeah, they're quite a.
I'm gonna have to try this.
They're a funny bunch, honestly. They're based in Burton, but there's sort of branches of them all over the place, and they're a bit potty. They can only drink Bass, and they can only drink it out with the right hand, and they can only have pints, and yeah, they're a bit strange. And so when we first had them, we were we're all excited, and honestly they're a good bunch, but you have to be a man. You can't offer it to women, but I mean it's up to them, and whatever. I just find it funny. But anyway, they're coming on Monday.
You haven't had it on tap that day.
No, well, I just obviously I know they're coming on, so I've ordered loads because I think there's 20 of them, and they'll all have 10 pints a piece or whatever. So, and they're coming at 12 o'clock.
That's good business.
Yeah, they're coming on a coach, and they just love it, and they have a meeting and they talk. Don't know because I'm not invited because I'm not in there.
The Honourable Society.
The Honourable Order, yeah, and they have like this suitcase with the I think it's HOBD or something, and they come but then you hear them all doing weird songs and things. And, yeah, they're just strange. It's just funny. It's good. Why not?
You have to let me know when they're in. I think
So,
apply
this
for
Monday.
membership.
Monday the 1st. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it's weird. Yeah.
All right, my second very difficult question. Similar, if you could only have one, ale cider. Pie or Scotch egg?
Pie. And I would say torn because
That's a difficult question.
it has to be probably the steak and caviar pies that we sell are absolutely superb.
That sounds nice. Are they on every night?
They're on all the time, but they sell out, so I
So getting
can't
there
say.
early.
Yes, she was supposed to be coming today, but she's making the next batch of pies.
Yeah, we should say all this is possible with your wife running everything with you. She does all the pies and baking and stuff, and it's all homemade stuff.
Yeah, they're all homemade. Yeah, and the other, I mean, it's a close second to it is her cheese and onion pies, which are just phenomenal. Which sounds strange, doesn't it? That how could a cheese and onion pie be phenomenal?
Oh, that could be good.
Because I was with a beer writer last week, and he was in, and we were just talking pies and whatnot. So he says, "Oh yeah," so he was going on about cheese and onion pies because the majority of cheese and onion pies now they put all sorts of things in like potato and smash and all this sort just to try and bulk it up because cheese is quite expensive. So somebody was asking Michelle the other week, they went, "What do you put in this pie? It's absolutely beautiful, this cheese and onion pie." And she said, "Well, it's cheese and onion." And I thought, well, fair enough. And
It's what it's supposed to be.
correct.
Yeah.
But people are not used to actually tasting a cheese and onion pie anymore because they have everything else in it.
It's all bulked out.
Correct. So if you want a cheese and onion pie, come down to a Fox and Pine and try one of Michelle's cheese and onion pie. They're beautiful.
So yeah, I should say for people, I imagine most people do know where the Fox and Pine is, but if they don't, where can people find you and what do you usually have on tap?
So permanently we have 10 ales on. There's always 3 darks, so that there usually be like a mild on. Then there'll be like a flavoured stout and then a box standard stout. There should always be a brown beer, and then the rest will be pales. The only line that we have permanent is Bass.
For the society, in case they
It's not just that. It's a bit of an iconic beer. I went to university in Derby, and when I was first into ale, it was Bass and whatnot, and it was just a beer that I like. And there's also, it's not just this honourable order of Bass drinkers. There's like a bit of a secret Bass loving societies as well. There's also, honestly, it's weird. So they have like a directory, and you can go online and you go on this directory, and it'll tell you that which pubs sell Bass permanently, and if you look, the majority are around the Midlands and whatnot. So there's just a handful that are sort of. I think I'm the only one in Greater Manchester that's permanent. There's one in Wigan. Sorry, tell a lie. There's one in Wigan that's a great pub. The Swan and Railway as well. It's a super pub. They do it permanently as well. There'll be people screaming at you on this thing. Well, I do it permanently, but they've not done it long enough to get into the diary, so I can only go off this diary.
Well, that kind of goes back to your point, doesn't it, of that everyone has their own preferred pub. There's no right or wrong way.
There's no right or wrong. There's just, I mean, the guy who came visiting last week, well, it wasn't, a couple of weeks ago, he's on Facebook, and it's the Great British Pub Crawl, and he's just an ex-landlord, and he's trying to do every pub in the country, and he just wants to, he's raising awareness about all these pubs closing and what the government should be doing to try and save the pub, because it's at the end of the day, that the pub, it's a British thing that needs to be sort of saved, and it's not just pubs like mine. It doesn't have to be a rail ale pub. It could be anything, any pub. They're a hub of the community. So all these pubs in Oldham, there might be somebody who goes in. I don't know, there might be a regular, the Bee's Knees, who doesn't like coming to my pub because there's nothing for him, because I don't sell John Smith Smooth, or I don't sell Guinness, or whatever he likes, or she. And it's the pub has to be saved in whatever shape or form it's in. So this bloke who does these goes around on this Facebook thing, he will never ever have a bad word about any pub. We need to just get people not drinking at home, even if it's coming in at tea time. Because you get to meet people. There's too many people drinking at home and by themselves.
Lack of socialising.
Go in a pub, get into a conversation. It doesn't take you long to become a local of a pub. If you come in 2 or 3 times, people will start to recognise you, and you'll just get chatting away with somebody, and then before you know it, become a local, and it's I just think it's socially a thing that shouldn't be lost. And unfortunately, it's at the minute they are struggling. Pubs are struggling, and the government needs to help. Simple as.
Yeah. So come visit Chris, Fox and Pineham, support your local pub, come try some nice homemade pies, and maybe even join the Honourable Society of
Bass drinkers, why not? Yeah,
If
but
you
yeah,
like
just
it.
come in, try an ale, try a real cider. If not, there's loads of other stuff you can have. You don't have to be a real ale wally like me. You can have out you want, but
Yeah, no judgment. Whatever
no, there's no judgment. You can drink. It's there's loads and loads of alcohol-free beers to choose from as well. So it's not just about having a booze and whatnot. There's absolutely loads of alcohol-free, or you just come in and have a G2O or whatever. It's just come in and be part of the community, really.
Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to say to people, or give a promote to any of your other pubs?
No, it's brilliant. I think I've said enough, haven't I? Yeah, just get into Oldham, or just get into your local pub. If you've got a pub anywhere near your house, get up and just go in and have a pint or have a drink and say hello. No, don't, just use pubs. We need to.
There you go, Oldham. Go have a pint. Chris, thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
No worries.